Hello friends, welcome to Webronaq. Here is a question to start us off. Imagine you need a program to do something 10 times. Print a line, process a record, check a value. You could write that action out 10 separate times, but that is clunky, error-prone, and falls apart the moment the number changes. What you really need is a way to let the program repeat the action automatically and stop at exactly the right moment. That is the whole problem loops solve. And at the center of that solution is something called a loop counter. In this video, we will build up exactly what a loop counter is, how it works, and when to reach for one. Let's get into it. A loop counter is simply a variable, usually an integer, that tracks how many times a loop has run. It has 3 jobs. First, it is initialized to a starting value before the loop begins. In our example, we set I to 0. Second, it is checked in a condition every iteration. We ask whether I is less than 10. If the condition is true, the loop body runs. If it is false, the loop stops. Third, it is updated at the end of each iteration. We increment I by 1. Those 3 roles, initialize, condition, update, are the skeleton of almost every counted loop you will ever write. Keep those 3 words in mind, because next, we will watch them work together inside a real for loop. Here is the for loop that brings those 3 roles together. The first clause, int I is equal to 0, initializes the counter. The second clause, I is less than 10, is the condition checked before every iteration. The third clause, I increment, updates the counter after every iteration. The body of the loop calls cout to print the current value of I, followed by n-l to move to the next line. After the body finishes, I increment updates the counter. So on iteration 0, I is 0, and the program prints 0. On iteration 1, I is 1, it prints 1, and so on. When I reaches 10, the condition I is less than 10 becomes false and the loop exits. Exactly 10 lines printed, 0 through 9. That precision is exactly why counters exist. Next, let's look at the patterns you will use most and the mistakes that trip people up. Counters can run in either direction. Counting up is the most common pattern. I starts at 0. The condition is I is less than 10, and each iteration adds 1. That gives you values 0 through 10 iterations total. Counting down just reverses things. I starts at 9. The condition is I is greater than or equal to 0, and each iteration subtracts 1. 2 pitfalls show up constantly. First, off by 1 errors. Writing I is less than or equal to 10 instead of I is less than 10 gives you 11 iterations when you wanted 10. Second, infinite loops. If you forget to increment I inside a while loop body, the condition never becomes false and the loop runs forever. Both mistakes come from losing track of the counter's 3 roles. Keep those roles clear, and most loop bugs disappear. Let's wrap everything up now. Alright, let's pull it together. A loop counter is a variable that controls repetition through 3 roles. Initialize it, check it in a condition, update it every iteration. When you know the exact number of iterations ahead of time, a for loop is the natural fit, because all 3 roles sit together in one line and are easy to read at a glance. When the number of iterations depends on something that changes at runtime, user input, a data stream, a search result, a while loop often reads more clearly, with the counter declared before the loop and updated inside the body. Either way, the same 3-role pattern applies. Understand initialize, condition, and update, and you have the foundation for nearly every loop you will ever write. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.